Strong Conversations.
Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Carolyn Strong. I won't be before you long. I just wanted to take a moment. I could not let the National Day of Racial Healing go by and not just kind of hop on and say something real quick. And I do mean real quick, but I wanted to say something regarding allyship. So, my message today for the National Day of Racial Healing is for allies. So, it's 5 things that allies can do to assist with racial healing. The first thing that I suggest is recognizing that allyship is not necessarily a distinction that one bestows upon themselves. Typically, allyship is something that is bestowed on someone from within the community. So if I am an ally to someone, or if I am empathetic and assisting to somebody who is a member of a different community, it's not up to me to say, well, I'm an ally. It's up to them to say that you are an ally. It's up to me to say that I am being empathetic to your plight and I am helping in any way that I can. But it's not up to me to say that I'm an ally or a co-conspirator or whatever language you choose to use. That distinction comes from within the community. The second thing that I want to talk about is understanding and owning your privilege. In some way, shape, or form, almost everyone has some sort of privilege. And what we typically get caught up in when we start having these conversations around racial healing is not wanting to acknowledge privilege or talking about privilege like it's a dirty word, instead of understanding it and owning it and utilizing it in a way that we can be of assistance to marginalized groups. That's a big one for me. We need to be more willing to talk about and own our privilege. Next, don't get caught up in intent versus impact. What we have to be more mindful of is that impact matters. We've been trained to say, oh, well, I didn't mean it, so you've got to forgive me. No, I don't. But what we have to understand is that while that wasn't your intent, owning the impact. And that's something that when I train, I speak on at length, because I think it's something that we all could do better to understand, but just not getting caught up in intent versus impact, and understanding that even if something that you said or did was hurtful, even if it wasn't your intent, that may have been your impact, and kind of owning that and moving from that place. 4, do not depend on the emotional and sometimes physical labor of marginalized groups to get all your information. This seems to happen a lot on the internet, where something could be a simple Google search, but people are looking to Black folks to, well, why don't you just tell me? Well, why don't you just research? If you are truly interested in the answer, it takes a couple seconds to just look that up. I am not necessarily always interested in telling you that information. Well, I shouldn't say me, because this is what I do for a living. So usually I will take the time to do it because it's kind of who I am and what I do. But by that same token, not everybody wants to or has to do that. Lastly, just show up and lean into the discomfort. It's not always going to feel good. Finding out the things that you thought were different than what they are is not necessarily going to feel good. I think we all go through that as we become adults and realize everything isn't the way our caregivers told us it would be, and kind of having that crisis of conscience. I kind of liken that to the same thing. What we were taught is not necessarily what we're out here seeing into the world. And sometimes to get to the other side of that, we have to lean into it. So in the meantime, if we are trying to engage in allyship, trying to engage in empathy, trying to be a part of the solution, these are 5 things that you can do to do that. Or especially on this day, this National Day of Racial Healing. That's all I have. I told you I wasn't going to take a long time. Until I talk to y'all again, y'all have a good one.